one call, where the timing to rebuild and restore, where freedom rise and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We have will defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We have will defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come. And for generations to come. We have will defend our land.
Listening to
We
Lagoon Radio.
believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there.
Yes, we believe in this nation and we will all get there. Good morning and welcome to the program State of the Nation on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting live from the Assistance Palace right here in Marina, Lagos. It's Thursday, the 12th day of August 2021, and it's 5 minutes gone past the hour of 10. Yes, like you know, State of the Nation is our political program where we keep you up to speed on the latest happenings in the state. And today, like every other Thursday, we are looking at the build-up to the 2023 elections, matters arising. And our guest this morning is Mayor Leslie. Mayor, good morning and welcome to the program.
And thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be on the program today.
Okay, remember you can download the app on Google Play Store and Apple Store. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Lagoon Radio Nigeria, and on Instagram, Lagoonradio.Ng. Of course, we are streaming live on Facebook. You can listen to us directly via the link www.LagoonRadio.Ng. Yes, Twitter will soon be back, and the Minister for Information yesterday promised that Twitter will soon be back in Nigeria. Okay, now to the point. Looking at the 2023 elections and looking at Nigeria as an entity, since 1999, we've conducted several elections. Will you say that we are still ready for elections?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I think before we can say we are ready for elections in 2023, I think we need to take a background check on ourselves first. Let's look at previous elections and that had happened in the past. And let's do a survey on how those elections went by. If you ask me, I don't see 2023 election as anything to be different from what we've had in the past. Like we do say in Nigeria, the fairest and the best election we've had was 1993 election. Until date, we've not had anything that has even come like very close to that election. So, and with the way the election scenarios are going right now, the way the political, the campaign, and every other thing surrounding the election, the preparedness of INEC itself, I wouldn't want to say we are actually prepared for that election. So, if you ask me, in my own perception, I don't think 2023 election will be anything different from what we've had in the past. Actually,
Okay, and there have been fears in some parts of the country that the elections may not hold. Talking about secession and the insecurity, are you one of those that believe that elections may not hold in 2023?
okay, yeah, it is only normal that there should be fears. And if you really ask me, in time past, in fact, in 2019, we also had the same thing. Would there be election? Because there were different threats during that period. In 2015, we had different threats during that period also. Somebody saying, if the election do not go in their favor, Nigeria will know no peace, you know? So it's normal. It's like a principle. Like it's like a criteria for Nigerian election whenever it's coming around. There are always threats here and there. But the last thing is there would always be election. As long as that Nigeria remains a democratically controlled state, there would always be an election in Nigeria. So whether the election will be free and fair is what we should think of. But definitely an election is going to hold in 2023.
Okay, and yes, you said definitely it's going to hold. And there have been fears. Some people are saying that the APC or the Buhari government might not relinquish power in 2023.
Like I used to tell people, I believe that Nigeria is not a state where someone will want to hold on to power as he or she deems fit. It is never going to be possible in Nigeria. Yes, we have some states in Africa where these things are actually happening, but in Nigeria, I don't see that. If the great OBJ could not do it, I don't see the Muhammad Buhari of this time to doing that also. Nigeria is not a state that can be governed in that manner. If several attempts have been made to do this and they all failed, I don't think this is the time that such would come to play in Nigeria, because Nigeria cannot be compared to the Zimbabwe of this world. They can't be compared to the Ivory Coast of this world, where you have people ruling for several years. So it's not possible. Those states are actually different as compared to Nigeria. So whether we like it or not, 2023, come what it may, there would be an election and there will be change of power. Whether the party will remain in power is what we can say. But definitely an election would hold, and of course there will be change of power.
Okay, now let's look at this government itself. Yes, after President Yaradua of late memory was, of blessed memory was sworn in as the president, he made a certain comment on the day of inauguration. He said that the election that brought him into power was fraudulent. And he said that no country in the world can boast of free and fair election, even the United States of America. And after that, he started with electoral process. He wanted to change things. And President Muhammadu Buhari came on board. He promised for the new electoral bills and the rest of them. Now, looking at this government and what transpired in the House of Assembly, do you believe that this government believes in that transformation of our electoral process?
If you ask me, I would say no. Because normally, if you look at a government that is actually serious about electoral reforms in Nigeria, I think that begins with the way the National Assembly is set up. Right now, I do not believe in Nigeria we have in fact, not even a very good House of Assembly this time. I do not believe we have an House of Assembly. Now, this is because if you look at it, the representatives, the senators, to me, they appear like a rubber-stamped kind of house. And that is why, look at it in the last 4, 5, 6 years right now that they've been in power, there has been nothing tangible that has come out of that house. No tangible, no reasonable bills whatsoever. So if you have a house that is yet to determine or decide on any tangible bill in 6 years of his experience, of his existence right now, then I don't see them coming forth with anything reasonable regarding Electoral Act. If you ask me why, this is because these guys know that the way the electoral society, or let me put it that way, the electoral organization is set up right now, favors the party that is involved in power. Now, it would only be, let me put it in the Nigerian pattern, it would only be unreasonable for you to change what works for you.
Okay.
So, if people would only clamor for electoral reforms because they are not in power, that's the Nigerian mentality. Now, in a sane country, in a sane society, we should always work for what would favor the greater good. But in Nigeria, it's what favors me that I will put in place first.
Okay.
So there is no way, I will tell you categorically, there is no way Electoral Reform Act is coming into play before the 2023 election. Not with the government, because right now they are benefiting from what the electoral platform is. So there would not be a push. Normally the House is supposed to push for such, but they can't because they are benefiting from it. So when they leave power, they will be able to push for that. So forget about the electoral reform for now. I don't see that happening before 2023 election.
Okay, and looking at still on the house, when this house was inaugurated, and oftentimes when they speak, especially the Senate president,
Ahmad Lawan.
Honorable Ahmed Lawan, he always says that we now have a responsible House of Assembly that is there to move Nigeria forward. And you are saying you've not seen anything in the past 2 years of this current Ninth Assembly. And looking at the Ninth Assembly, they have also promised that they will, anything that will move Nigeria forward, that they will push it forward.
Yes, so far so good. They've done their job in moving Nigeria forward. Because if you look at our debt status right now, we have moved forward. Like, incurred more debts. Because what you get is, immediately the proposal is brought to the House for borrowing. Instantly they are approved. So it's more like they are moving Nigeria forward the way the president wants us to go, or the presidency wants us to go. They are not moving Nigeria forward the way the electorate want them to do that. So there are two things. Are you doing what the electorate elected you to go do, or you're doing what the administration wants you to do? This time around, theirs is to do what the administration want them to do. So we can't really say that they are speaking for the people, because the people would not tell you to go incur debts. We are putting you there to look for a way to drag down our debts and resolve economic issues, not compound our problems, which is what they have successfully done right now. So if you still ask me, they are doing their job. But are they doing it the right way? No.
And also, looking at the name, the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and looking at that name, in your own opinion, is that body really independent in Nigeria?
Okay, I think I remember saying this quite some time ago on this same show. In my own perspective, INEC is not and has never been independent. As long as INEC, the appointment of the INEC chairman still depends on the presidency, as long as the approval of the INEC chairman still depends on the presidency, as long as the appointment of the resident electoral commissions in different states still depends on their state House of Assembly as well as their governors, then I don't see how you can call such an organization or such a body independent. Because like they say, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So INEC would only be independent if they are actually taking off the power of the government in power at that point in time. But if you look at it, everything INEC does is dependent on the federal government, be it allocation, be it just name it. So you can't call such an organization independent, because to some extent, don't let me say to most, to some extent, they are controlled by the institution of the state. So INEC has never been, and I don't think, probably by the end of the Electoral Act, it might come to play, but currently, I don't think, and they have never been independent.
Okay, you've been listening to State of the National Political Program. You've been hearing the voice of Me Leslie, and I am your host, Anosike Chimese. We'll go on this short break. When we come back, we'll look at that. Some say it's blunder, but some say it's a way forward. The passage of that bill, the INEC and the National House of Assembly, when they said that the election results will not be transmitted electronically. And also we'll look at the various political parties, how they are gearing up for the 2023 election. Keep listening to us. We'll be right back after this break.
Nation.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.
come with the timing to rebuild and restore. Where freedom rise and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We have will defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We have will defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people,
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.
Yes, you're still on to Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria, and it's still State of the Nation. Yes, our guest, Leslie, is still here. And we are looking at build up to the 2023 elections, matters arising. Yes, remember you can download the app on Google Play Store and Apple Store. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are live. Yes, we are streaming live on Facebook. On Instagram, yes, at Lagoonradio.Ng. And listen to us directly via the link, www.LagoonRadio.Ng. Now, something happened way back in the House of Assembly some months back. And it was all about the electronic transmission of results. In fact, it was like the whole APC members voted against the electronic transmission of results because the minority leader, Senator Naya Baribe, insisted that the Senate president should make it open for Nigerians to know who voted for and who voted against. And after the votes, the chairman Senate Committee on Ame, Senator Alain Dume, came out and said that he voted against it because in his hometown, where he comes from, there is no network, there is no light. And hearing this in a 20th, in a modern century in a Nigerian nation, after over 20 years of democracy, if you look at that bill, what does it entail for the future of Nigeria?
Okay, so basically for me, the electronic transmission of electoral results, that bill would have been very, very favorable for our electoral processes. And for me, it would have been a step in the right direction when you consider the pros. Definitely to every bill, there are pros and there are cons. Now, Senator Ali Ndume is saying he voted against that simply because his location is yet to be, let's say, exposed. His location is yet to be developed. Well, if you ask me, it's a blow on his own face first, but then you begin to reason if politicians actually think before they act. Now, there's this phrase I make, there's this statement I make that in Nigeria, there are some areas that development has never gotten to, would never get to, at least in the recent future. But there is nowhere a ballot box cannot get to in Nigeria. Now, you begin to wonder, for an institution of state that can get ballot boxes to even the most remote areas for voting, why can't development get to such a place? Now, you ask me, this same community Ali Ndume said is yet to be developed, is underdeveloped, get ballot boxes, get the electoral card reader during election. How do those things work? How do they transmit? So except if he's telling me that election in that area in recent time, which was supposed to be through electronic card readers and stuff, have been manipulated. Maybe they vote manually, like the normal thumb printing, and there you go. Clearance has been manual clearance, and that, except that is what he's trying to say. But if you look at it, the electoral reform, if truly was supposed to come into play, would have started with the approval of this electronic transmission. But because, like I said, everybody would only follow what favors them.
Okay.
That is why you said it yourself, chunk of, or the most of those that voted against this was the APC. Right now, he's working for them. Let them succeed power to probably PDP in the next year, and then see if Senator Enyinaya Abaribe would also move for such when it's their turn.
And okay, looking at our politicians and looking at the House of Assembly, yes, the APC, they are the majority. And that house, do you think, because one of the senators spoke, he said that if we are to make INEC independent, that this bill that they are proposing that will be subject to approval of the Senate for the INEC. So, and also looking at the autonomy of the INEC and that house, what do you think is the way forward for the House of Assembly?
Okay, so basically for the House of Assembly and looking at the INEC, the autonomy of the INEC, I think that's dependent on having a reasonable House of Assembly. The House of Assembly that is there not for their own good, but for the good of the people and the masses. Now, if you can have an house that consists of such persons, people with like minds, as such, then it would be very easy to have such bill proposed and then approved by the House. But you see, if you have the same clowns we have in the House right now as senators or representatives, then I'm sorry, that autonomy INEC is seeking for, or perhaps they say they do have right now, but they are seeking more power to get, would not come in anytime soon.
Okay, let's look at Anambra election. It's coming up on November 6th. And INEC, despite the votes against card reader, the electronic transmission of results, INEC said last week that they are still employing more technologies, which will kickstart in Anambra State. If that comes successful, is that a statement INEC is, will it be a statement they will make to Nigerians and the House of Assembly?
Well, it is only normal that during every election we have new ideas brought into play. So starting with new technologies in quotes, we really do not know what exactly those technologies are. But I doubt if it's going to be something with the electronic transmission of results, because definitely that has been voted against by the House that is meant to approve it. So I don't think INEC will want to toe the lane of going against constituted authority, let me put it that way. So basically, I think employing more technologies will be maybe in the aspect of verification, authentication of voters and stuff like that. But in the aspect of the transmission of results, I don't see that happening. Now, INEC employing more technologies doesn't necessarily guarantee a successful, free and fair election. It only guarantees to them maybe reducing the level of work they would have to do, the level of stress they would have to go through in conducting that election. But this doesn't necessarily mean, because to every institution that puts up a plan in Nigeria to get things right, there is another counter institution putting up plans to make sure that this doesn't go well. So INEC planning up, definitely the political parties are planning theirs also. So it's just a two-way thing.
Okay.
There's nothing that is going to be, for me, there's nothing that is going to be different. The only thing is probably you reduce the level of work you're supposed to do, the level of stress that you're supposed to go through, and then the level of authentication and stuff like that. Aside that, there is nothing I think significant will come out of that election.
Okay, now let's look at the former chairman of the INEC, Professor Tahiru Jiga. He made a statement earlier this month. He warned Nigerians to vote out APC and PDP in the next elections. And that statement generated a lot of reactions from the masses. And looking at that statement, what will you say in your own opinion?
Well, Professor Tahiru Jiga is part of our problem. Because yes, when he was the INEC chairman, he had the opportunity to change things, to make things right. But if you ask me, did he do that? No. Did he do that? No. So it is easier to say things to authorities when you are no longer there. when you're no longer the one calling the shots than you doing it when you're the one in power, ready to call the shots. Yes, Professor Atari Jega should have made things right when he was the INEC chairman. But then you ask yourself, don't vote in APC, don't vote in PDP. Yes, it's the right choice to make. But the truth is that possible in current day Nigeria? When the INEC registration for political parties is running into millions? When everything regarding election criteria for every party concerning INEC is definitely against the formulation of younger political parties? When you go to parties to pick up electoral forms and then you're spending millions. So has INEC even done anything in that regard to prepare a very soft landing ground for proposed political parties? Now you ask yourself, political parties who have come to play in recent times, how well have they succeeded? The Zenith parties of this world, the other political parties of this world, how have they succeeded? You find out that most of them during the election, they either merge together because they don't even have the capacity. So has INEC actually created that soft landing for these parties? No. So such political parties cannot thrive except with a very good will and can-do spirit. And then you ask yourself, is that actually possible in modern day Nigeria? No. Because most of these parties would only come to show off, yes, we have a candidate, just so that other parties can buy them over. So INEC has not given that platform. So it's not, I don't see that happening in recent day Nigeria. Let's be sincere with ourselves. Except, of course, maybe this electoral act and electoral reforms come to play and then give every party or maybe one candidate, because right now we don't even have that.
Okay, and looking at, you made a statement, talking about campaigns. The senators increased the money for the campaign. I can't remember the figure, but over billions. And looking at it, we are talking about last year, President Muhammad, before the 2019 election, President Muhammad signed into bill the not too young to run bill. Yes, we saw some young aspirants, and who took the chance. Now, looking at that fund, the money they raised for is our elections monetized?
Obviously, it is, because in recent times and in time past, we've seen that that's the situation of things in Nigeria. Because you can't say your election is not monetized when your election is won by the highest bidder. You can't say your election is not monetized when your election is, prior to your election, build-up plans to your election, you have people distributing foodstuff, distributing monetary gifts. You can't say your election is not monetized when even on your election day, you find people handing out cash gifts to people just to compel them to vote for them. So basically, I would say the Nigerian election is capitally based on money. It's based on finances. The highest bidder wins Nigerian election. That's the way it runs. Highest bidder wins Nigerian election.
And also, looking at now, looking at that, the highest bidder and the parties involved, and we have two major political parties now, the PDP and the APC. APC is the ruling party. But, okay, let's start with PDP. They are the major oppositions, but it's like they are not far away from crisis. Looking at Secondus and the rest of them, the BOT, some of the members resigning and going to another party. Do you believe that PDP can put up a fight against APC in 2023?
Since the assumption of power for this current administration, the PDP, if you ask me, has not acted in capacity of a capable opposition, because that's all been about noise. There is nothing tangible to show that, yes, this is actually a capable opposition. If you look at when the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was in power, the way APC put up their opposition to Jonathan, there was no breathing space. I think that was part of the reason why President Jonathan remained on his toes till he left office. There was no breathing space, because you wake up every morning, there is one accusation from APC against the presidency. There's one talk from APC against the presidency. When the presidency says A, there's always a counter A from the APC. But then you ask yourself, is PDP doing the same thing? No. So I think that's complacent attitude from PDP gave this administration the autopilot mode in which they are running right now, because they don't see anybody coming out to challenge the authority. They don't see anybody coming out to challenge their principles and policies. So if you ask me, PDP in itself is not settled. And if the election is just in few months, because I say it's few months, and the major opposition, put it that way, is not even settled within itself. Normally, we know all these things happen during election, and few months to election, they get their parties right. But right now, if you are supposed to be the major opposition and you're not even settled, it's not like the APC is also settled. But right now, the PDP that is meant to be the opposition is not settled. Then what do you propose would happen in 2023? Before they get their house right, before they come up with strong opposition, and considering that, of course, our election is majority bidder. The APC has access to funds, they have access to money right now, so they are ready to spend. They are ready to spend.
Okay, like you said, the PDP. Looking at them now, the Secondus-led National Working Committee is supposed to end in December. But from what we are gathering now, the convention will now be held in October. And we heard that last week in a meeting that a certain governor entered the BOT meeting to disrupt proceedings. And after some BOT members resigned and joined and jumped the ship to the other party. And looking at that PDP right now, what do you think they need to do to get that house in order?
Okay, so basically, I think at this point in time, it's about everyone dropping their ego. Because if you ask me, to some extent, as the Uche Secondus-led administration of the PDP really done anything in time past? If you ask me, I would say no. Because if you look at it, 2019 election, the little states PDP were able to win, okay? If you look at some of them right now, they've lost to those states. Probably by the act of the governor, the campaign, or thereabout. Now, even the one they won from the APC, which was Edo States, there is also crisis right now. So, as the PDP actually moved forward, if you ask me, I would say no. Now, so it is right if you say people are actually against Secondus. Okay? It is right. But then again, we would always want to put this geographical region in play, because if you look at those who are significantly against Secondus right now, they are from the upper north. Okay? So we might want to say probably because those persons see that the PDP is weaker when they have a southerner leading them as compared to when they have a northern. Because don't dispute this. If you have a northerner as the chairman of the PDP right now, don't be surprised you have some significant powerhouse in APC decamping to the PDP prior to 2023 election. These northerners know how they do it. So I think those ones are trying to look at the bigger play of 2023 election than what they currently have. And to do that, I think Secondus just has to give way. Okay, and that is what Secondus is not willing to do right now, because everybody wants to stay in power. So that's why I said everybody needs to drop their ego, come to the table, and discuss for the greater good of the party, not their selfish interest. That's the only way out for the PDP.
Okay. Now, having said for this for the PDP, let's look at the APC. A certain judgment went in their favor in Ondo State. The appeal for Governor Rotimi and Iyitayo Jegede. And some people have said that they narrowly escaped that judgment because of the Mai Malam Buni-led caretaker committee. And since the sacking of Adams Oshomole, APC has never come up with a party chairman, and it's been led by Mai Malam Buni. And just last week, the National Work Committee passed a vote of, even the governors passed a vote of confidence on that committee. And some people are saying there is a looming danger that what happened in Zamfara might happen in 2023 to APC, even if they win the elections. And from the law, or from your own little knowledge, what do you see about that Mai Malam Buni-led administration that they have held so high?
Okay, so basically, like I said in the beginning, I think you would want to keep up with what works for you. Okay, and currently the Malam Buni led administration of the APC, okay, party administration definitely is working somewhat somehow for the party itself. If not, you would not have the governors who find it very difficult to agree on issues like this suddenly coming to give up a vote of confidence on such a committee, and party members at large also doing the same thing. Now, for me, if you ask me, I think the administration to some extent has come to stay, okay, and there might be just maybe a little tweak in play when 2023 is around the corner, because definitely there would always be stronger powers that would want to show. So, and this would only come in play if the PDP is settled. Now, if the PDP successfully put up a very stronger party administration, probably with somebody from the north, and then, the strong will of the PDP ends up in power as the party administrators, then APC will be forced to look at what they have compared to what the PDP has. Is this actually matching? Is this greater than? If they see that they are falling short, then don't be surprised the Malam Buni administration will be turned. There will be a turnover. So definitely such an administration will come to stay. But as long as the PDP is restless, it is assumed that they are doing well. So why change them?
Okay. But to you, that Malam Maibuni led committee, is it illegal?
Obviously it is. Because if you look at the way they came into being, they came into existence in the party, obviously it is. Were they actually brought in the right way? Were they brought in the way the party constitution has provided? No. So obviously it is, but like Nigeria, it's a Nigerian state, for crying out loud, and the abnormal becomes abnormal. Like the abnormal becomes normal in Nigeria. So if the party members, the party committees have seen that as let's just continue. Okay. But when it's time to overturn them, you would notice that yes, they would come out to tell you, no, when they came in, it was wrong. They didn't come in the right way, so they should leave. So those things will come to play. Okay,
on that judgment of Ondo election, the section 138, where they based that PDP was challenging that Malam Buni, they said that a governor should not at the same time receive another pay job. But APC came on the ground that Malam Buni is not being paid as the caretaker committee chairman, that he is just there harmonizing the party. So are we not going to see another court crisis after 2023 elections? Because some members of PDP are already saying that the World Congress is held by APC last 2 weeks. They are also illegal because their forms were duly signed and sent to INEC by the Malam Buni caretaker committee.
Okay, so basically this is the way it's going to play. For me, I feel this is the way it's going to play out. I see an overturn of this committee before the 2023 election. Okay. Because right now, I believe everybody will begin to play their cards to try to see the pros and cons of this committee. Now, they will try to envisage what might happen if they continue to play along. Now, the challenge from those states is actually an insight, an eye-opener for the APC itself. So, for every reasonable thinking aspirant, they should know that this is a risk. Now, how well this risk might favor you is dependent on if your party actually maintains power in 2023. If the party actually maintains, if APC remains in power in 2023, then I don't think that would be much of an issue. Okay, because definitely we know the way our judicial system is. But if APC should lose that central power in 2023, then that might be an issue for anybody across the state. Because then there is power to contest the abnormalities that have been experienced. So, but right now, I think every potential aspirant would want to weigh his or her cards to see which one would be of favor to him or her. So basically, if they all come together and say that, this thing would not favor us. Should this happen? Should this happen? I'm sure everybody will take the right decision. That's why I said I actually foresee an overturn of that committee before 2023 if all parties involved see that, yes, this thing would not favor us.
Okay, now, a friend of mine said something. He said that the problem we are enjoying in judiciary right now, that PDP laid the foundation, that they used it for themselves, that APC themselves stepped on the ladder and worsened the whole Is that a true statement?
It is. To be very sincere with you, it is. Because if you look at it, the problem we have in Nigeria didn't just begin today. Didn't just begin in 2015. It has been on ground. But the only thing is, it's like you're building a house. And then you expect at some point that, yes, you didn't envisage the fact that probably you might be low on cash at some point and then somebody else buys up the house. What do you expect? You've raised the foundation to the window level and you just expect that the person will just come and then destroy it and then start all over again. When he knows that, oh, this person has actually assisted me to raise my foundation to the 3-bedroom flat I want to build, I will just simply continue. If possible, make it worse. Do you understand? If possible, make it in the eyes of others, make it worse. But for myself, make it better for me, make it habitable for me. So that's basically what has come to play. The PDP laid the foundation. The APC is capitalizing on that foundation. And believe you me, whoever comes in next would also continue building on that same foundation. Except, of course, the person is quite reasonable.
Okay, you're still listening to State of the National Political Program on Lagoon Radio. We'll go on this short break. When we come back, yes, it will be time to look at what we need to do the more as citizens and also what INEC needs to do to improve the electoral system. Keep listening to us. We'll be right back after this break.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.
As a people with one song, with one voice, we're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom rise and truth prevails. Our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Though we are many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.
Yes, we still believe in this nation. We will get better someday. If only you contribute your own quota, get better. You're still on to State of the National Political Program on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos. Of course, we are transmitting live from the Diocesan Palace right here in Marina, Lagos. Yes, gradually we are wrapping up the show, and May Leslie is still here. We are looking at the build-up to the 2023 elections, matters arising. Now, having said much about the parties and the rest of them, these parties are made up of human beings, and they are not aliens, they are not foreigners. Now, the electorates, the Nigerian citizens, what is the role of Nigerian citizens towards this 2023 election?
Okay, so basically the role of the Nigerian electorate regarding the 2023 election has always been what it's been in the past. We are responsible for putting these politicians in power. We are responsible for deciding what is right and what we want for our society and nation as a whole. Now, if you ask me, I feel, are we actually doing that work? Are we performing those duties? In time past and in recent times, I think that would be a no. But it's not a no in every ramification, because if you look at it, there are some states, there are some institutions, there are some societies where the electorate actually go to the polling units. They go to the polls to do what is right. But then does the electoral institution put up the interest of the people? Sometimes no. There are some states that, yes, people will tell you categorically that this is who I voted for. This is who we expect should win in our states based on popular vote. But then you get to the elections and then the electoral results says something different. Not because people did not vote, not because people did not exercise their franchise, but because there is a power somewhere, somewhat, that overturns those decisions. So if you really look at it, yes, are the electorates prepared for 2023? I would say no. Because voters registration is on. I can tell you categorically there are some persons who do not even have a valid voter's card right now. And these persons, not because they just clocked 18, some of them actually have been in the past elections, but they are just not interested in the electoral process. Because some of them will tell you, election will be say they don't know who will win them. So people have actually lost hope in our electoral process. Now, are people willing to still give it a try in 2023? There are some persons who are not willing to, which is why if you look at the voters registration process, there is a low turnout. There is a low turnout in the voters registration process. It is not because people have not turned 18 since the last election. People have turned 18, several persons. But are they willing to be part of this forthcoming election? No. Because most of them have been told stories and most of them have seen for themselves what the Nigerian state is actually looking like. And I don't think if you look at it, if you're not somebody with a will to change your nation, then you wouldn't want to actually associate yourself with anything election in Nigeria.
Okay, talking about changing a state and the institution responsible, what again do we expect from the INEC? Yes, we had the INEC chairman talk a lot about focus and talk about giving Nigeria what they need, the right thing in 2023. And I listened to Chairman Voter Education, Chairman Voter Education Department of the INEC, Dr. Festus Okoye. And he said that 2023, that they are using Anambra election to set the template of what Nigerians will see. And talking about what Nigerians will see, we expect to see something. So what is your own expectation from the INEC in this 2023? Especially coming from Anambra in November.
Okay, so beginning with Anambra, I think since INEC wants to use the Anambra election as a yardstick to what we should expect in 2023, then I think it would be better for them to put up their forces, put up their technologies, everything they have in their arsenal to make sure Anambra election comes out as the people want it. With that, I think it would give an iota of hope to the average Nigerian who has actually lost hope in the process of elections in Nigeria. Now, if Anambra state election can come out successful as the electorate wants it, then I think people who have maybe concluded within themselves that 2023 would not be different, somebody like me, would actually see that light of hope and then maybe want to walk towards it and see that, yes, this happens. But then again, they shouldn't just capitalize on Anambra election and then fail Nigeria in the larger stage. Okay, because we've seen that in time past, where maybe a state before the general election would have theirs, and then people will keep on hailing the INEC, oh, very brilliant job, this, and then the major election comes, and we all fall flat. So basically, if INEC is going to use Anambra as a yardstick, then they should ensure that whatever plays out in Anambra positively, please, because definitely we don't know what to expect. Like I said, the INEC plans, the party plans. There's always a counter plan to whatever INEC is planning. That's the truth. So INEC should bring out everything they have in their arsenal to ensure that Anambra election comes out the way the masses want it. If they are able to ensure that, now they shouldn't just go back and relax and say, yeah, we've gotten this working. They should also continue to plan and see how, because Anambra state cannot be compared to Nigeria as a whole. In this kind of state, now you're deploying your entire machinery to Anambra. It's just a state. In Nigeria election, in this case, you need to split your mercenaries. You need to split your arsenals to cover the whole federation. Now, that reduces the level of power you have. That reduces the level of resources you have in every state. So they need to plan and ensure that even those limited resources are able to deliver capacity in their respective states.
Okay, and lastly, from the perspective of the government, the politicians itself, what advice and what do you expect from them?
Well, if you look at the Nigerian political scene and the Nigerian political state itself, I think I expect what has always been in the past. I expect foul play. I expect their normal corny play when it comes to play, because if you look at it, the politicians would not, there's no Nigerian politician, to be fair with you, that would imagine winning an election in a free and fair manner. No Nigerian politician. I don't care whatever party. Right now, with the formulation, with the way the Nigerian electoral system is formulated, no Nigerian politician will tell you he or she wins the election in a free and fair manner. They would only come forward to tell you, yes, the election is free and fair when they win. But when they are in the losing end, they tell you that election was not free and fair. Because they all know that they don't conduct a free and fair election. So there would always be plans for politicians to manipulate the process. But how firm INEC is able to stand its ground will determine how successful that election will be. So the politicians will come up with their plays and tactics. That's normal.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's the word of our guest this morning, Mayor Leslie. Mayor, thank you, and thank you for coming on the program. We hope to see you when next we call on you.
Thank you very much for having me. I would always be available when you do.
Okay, that's the size of the package this morning on State of the National Political Program. Thanks to you for listening to the program, and also thanks to our producer, Olumakaiye, for pressing the right buttons. And till next Thursday when we come again, keep listening to Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria, and do have a lovely day.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.